Hello, swivel heads. Both Russia and China have accused the United States of an act of war. And this consists of the
Hello, swivel heads.
hang on.
Both.
That consists of the fact that the United States actually has put new sanctions, big sanctions on two Russian oil companies. That, how's that an act of war? Well, yeah, it doesn't seem to rise to that occasion to us, but it could be crippling to the Russian economy. And furthermore, one has to remember, why did Japan send Admiral Yamamoto to attack Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December in 1942? Well, that was, 41. That was actually because of the United States cutting off oil supplies to Japan. So, eh, but this is the accusation. The problem is the accusations are going up, the tensions are going back up again. Putin played Trump, uh, you know, push things out and thinking he could get away and still claim all of Donbass and maybe more, just trying to buy time. And Trump's finally, come to full realization that Putin's been playing him like Lucy with the football and Trump being Charlie Brown. Well, but Trump isn't going to try to kick at that football forever. He's gotten mad about it. And when Trump gets mad, it ain't good. Now, he might still try to negotiate something. He still wants that Nobel Peace Prize. But my friends, this ain't pretty, not by any stretch of the imagination, because it's not just there. Because we know that China wants to take Taiwan. We know they're planning to move on it. And we further know that North Korea just did some major missile tests. North Korea tested an ICBM. North Korea tested a short-range ballistic missile that could take out Korea, South Korea. North Korea tested a hypersonic missile, claiming that they could evade all U.S. defenses against their missiles. And then on top of that, hey, Kim Possible House, good to see you. Uh, we will. We also know that on top of all of that, Russia just conducted a major nuclear drill exercise with their entire triad and launched an ICBM-2. So that's why tonight is nuclear news, toward the end of the description, because we're going to go into this and we're going to go into, oh, yeah, Russia just sent MiGs into apparently Lithuanian airspace, manned fighters again. And on top of that, we're going to talk about just how many nuclear ICBMs, how many nuclear warheads China may actually have, which is probably very likely to be far beyond, way beyond all these so-called official estimates. They may have more than Russia, and it may be all be mounted and ready to fly. Definitely, they may have maybe 3 times as much as we have here in the United States, mounted and ready to fly. And I'm going to show why I'm saying this. And this backs up what I and the late, great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry was talking about a couple of years ago before his untimely demise. And if you don't know who Dr. Pry is or was, you could check out the EMP Task Force of National Homeland Security and just look him up. Just look up his name. He's been on my channel several times. He was a friend of mine. And Kirk Whelan, who was used to be over the House Committee for Homeland Defense, said Dr. Pry was the lead expert in Soviet weapons analysis for the CIA when he was there. Now, he wasn't your regular CIA guy because he got out. He talked a lot against the deep state, a lot. And believe you me, he was a patriot. And he was a man I really admired. I knew him. I could call him and talk to him, and for hours. And he was brilliant. So you can go back and look up my old videos of Dr. Pry. And it would be well worth your time to go back and watch them because all that information is still pertinent today. None of that is expired. So, and we're going to build on that here tonight. So we're going to get all into this. We're going to look at some of this stuff, guys. But right now, everything's just off the charts. What's happening? And the news media is just kind of not really going along and telling us a lot about it. So, especially what you're not going to hear, what you're never going to hear from any of the mainstream news media is what I'm about to cover with regards to Chinese nuclear weapon delivery systems, the numbers, and how many warheads they may have. And it's staggering, very staggering. How much so? Enough so that they could do a first strike United States, probably take out everything we got, and then have plenty left over to hold us hostage. You think we're going to retaliate with submarine missiles? Well, it's what everybody always says. Not if they EMP us and they can't get the EAMs out to those missiles, or they take out the 3 transmitters for VLF that we have to take them out, or they take out the planes that the doomsday planes. Yeah, all that can be done. I've talked about that many times, how they could do that, how they could easily do it. Easily. I've talked about that many times on this channel. So if you're not up with that, go back and watch some old videos. If you really want me to, tell me in the chat room. If you want me to beat that dead horse again, I will. But we face a serious situation here, and yet we're playing. We're playing for some few little warheads that Iran may make up, and we're risking major war over there and using our munitions we may need to deal with China, with Iran, when Iran ought to be Israel's problem, quite frankly. Israel's got more nuke weapons than Iran's going to have, and for a long time to come. So why are we over there doing Israel's bidding for them? I don't know. If you think we should, if you think we need to be over there still going after Iran again, put a 1 in the chat room. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat room. I just really wonder why we need to be doing that when we've got a bigger adversary that we're not prepared to deal with, that we got to contend with. We better get our house in order and focus on what our biggest threat is. And if it's Russia, it's only because we made it Russia. We ought to let Europe deal with Ukraine and Russia, although it looks like they're really falling apart at it. It really does. It looks like they're not up to it. But is that our problem? Europeans have been warned for some time. They've drugged their feet and they've let everybody into the sun into their countries. And so, I don't know. Europe's getting like a lost cause. Now, Europe could take it back, and I hope they do. I really do. But, Europe needs to wake up, figure out how to take care of their countries and defend themselves, and get rid of the House of Klaus, which has led them down the primrose path to destruction. That's where Europe's heading if they don't wake up. And, I hope I got some European people in the chat room tonight listening, because maybe you can, pay some attention. But the Europeans need to wake up to what they're facing. I think a lot of people there have already figured it out, and they're starting to say something. But they got their own states of deep. They got their hands around their throats, basically. But that can be changed. The population really don't want this, and the population's waking up. You see where wokeism leads you. Wokeism leads you to being non-existent for all practical purposes. So I'm seeing some 2s in the chat room. So if you're watching this video later, put it in the comments below. What do you think? Tell me about it. Talk about it. Because you don't have to agree with me. I believe in freedom of speech. So say whatever you want to say in the chat room. Just be clean about it. Be civil. Don't curse, please. This is a family channel. If you curse in the online chat room, my mods will take care of you. Alrighty, folks. So let's look at some of these articles. I'm gonna try to get through this stuff pretty PDQ, because I got to get up early in the morning. So and I know it's late, but that's just, it takes me forever to put these together. So look, let's do a share. We're going to go straight. Whoa, what is that? That ain't where I want to be. Hang on. You got to move this article. Stupid things come up in the wrong place. All righty, here we go. Ding, 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 ding. Here we are. Look at news. Putin ally, of course, is Medvedev, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who's number 2 in charge of the Security Council, which is the body that governs the Russian military. So it's not some inconsequential organization by any stretch of the imagination. So he gets to play bad dog and bad cop, and Putin likes to play good cop normally, but sometimes he plays bad cop too. But that's just a game they play. But Medvedev is over claiming these sanctions are basically a act of war, and he's went on to the decisions taken are an act of war against Russia. And now Trump fully aligns himself with the loony Europe. Now, I don't make this stuff up, guys. I'm not making this up. For whatever that is worth or is not worth, he's been the barking dog over there, crying wolf a lot. So a lot of people don't pay attention to him. But as the tensions are ratcheting up, it might be time to at least keep one eye on him, keep one eye on this stuff. Because and look, I'm not going to come out and say that we're absolutely going to war with Russia. I hope we don't. I'm not Canadian, or that other show a lot of people talk about. I'm not saying it's absolute, but it's a good probability. Maybe Trump can use this as negotiating room still and snatch some victory from the jaws of defeat. Let's hope he's not snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But I still say we don't need to be part of this. We shouldn't even be in NATO. Uh, but that's my opinion. That and $10 will buy you a cup of coffee in some lousy joints these days. All righty. China. See? China said the same thing. Yeah. But China also, there's other articles coming out that have said that China is also actually thinking about not buying Russian oil. And the same's come out from India. They're considering, not saying they made those decisions, but apparently, according to some articles and some sources, both China and India, and that's a big jump for India, are considering either not buying or cutting back severely their purchases of Russian oil. If they do that, that would put a hard squeeze on Russia. But, guys, I don't make this stuff up. It's all in here. Uh, so let's go on to some of these other things. We're not going to spend too much time on this stuff. Oh, yeah, this is the same statement here. But, this is, yeah, they're suddenly waking up. Trump's, may actually go back and send the Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. So now this is a Ukrainian paper. So, Ukrainians, everything Ukrainians say is said to draw us into the war. Keep that in mind. Everything they say, just about it. But this is what they put in their version of Pravda. And it says, hey, Rodney, it says, this is an attempt at escalation. Let's see, he's quoting here. Yeah, anyway. He said, this is an attempt at escalation, but if such weapons are used to strike Russian territory, the response will be very serious. So let's see, I think this is Putin talking here. So, yeah, Putin. Putin added that such sanctions do not strengthen the Russo-American relationships. You think not? That seems to be the big understatement. He threatened that very serious and staggering response to strikes with long-range weapons deep inside the Russian territory. Now, what does he mean by? Now, this is not Medvedev talking. Now, this is Putin, and he went on to say, "This is an attempt at escalation, but if such weapons are used to strike Russian territory, the response will be very serious, if not staggering. Let them think about that." And this was his response to Vladimir Zelensky. That's what threw me out, saying that the United States was going to send the Tomahawks after all. Now, I don't know if Zelensky blows a lot of smoke. He's a cocky little banny rooster, crows a lot. He's real tiny, and doesn't really have a lot of cars, but he sure does crow hard. But then, Ukraine is fighting. They are putting up a fight. Got to give them credit for that. They are fighting. So anyway, NATO scrambles jets after another breach. And this is where they went into Lithuanian airspace. Russia denies it, but issue 30 fighters jets and IL-78 transporter plane went into the Lithuanian airspace for 18 seconds. So, NATO scrambled. I mean, how many times is this going to happen? How long until somebody has a mishap? Somebody gets trigger happy, misinterprets something goes wrong, plane crashes. Yeah, there's all kind of possibilities for, even if you don't mean for bad stuff to happen, it can happen. Anyway, so this article is pretty much an anti-Trump article, but Since Russia's not giving up on its maximalist demands, to take so much of Ukraine. I don't know if there was something in particular I was going to pull out of this article. I'm not going to read through it tonight to try to find it. Oh, yeah, this is Russia's embarking on a hybrid campaign of global proportions, a hybrid World War III, you might say. Well, what you may not know is that there was Russian agents found in, I believe it was Poland, who were with explosives that were going to blow up a facility there. And so they got caught. So let's believe this is part of their hybrid warfare. Russians and the Chinese have been cutting cables all over the world. I don't think that's what this article's over, but that's part of the hybrid warfare stuff that's being discussed right now. I didn't bring up that article on the Russian agents being caught, but so apparently, there is gray zone warfare already going on between Europe and Russia. And of course, Europe's, one of those articles I had up earlier, I didn't read it, but you might have saw it when I was scrolling through it. Basically, they're saying that, the West has a proxy war with them, and that's pretty obvious. That's pretty evident. Yeah, we are using Ukraine as a proxy war against Russia. Like it or not, that's what's been happening, especially NATO and the former administration, and maybe somewhat the current administration here in the U.S. of A. So let's see. Oh, so we got new days in the house. Good. We got the crowd showing up here. And this article, Independent, says, hey, Putin's finally pushed Russia too far and will pay the price. And they're talking about the sanctions and, what else may happen. So, you got to think about it. Everybody, Trump's a redhead. Redheads don't like to be kicked too many times. I mean, Trump gave him a lot of chances, but it shouldn't be our business. We ought to get the heck out of there, in my humble opinion. Now let's go to talk about China. China, if we stay out of Europe, Russia's not a threat to us. Even though Russia's got more nukes that we know of than anybody, I say know of. Russia, really, if we weren't involved, wouldn't have any reason to come after the United States. It would be insane of them to do it. It's probably insane of them to go for NATO, but NATO is kind of hollowed out. There's only, 70,000 troops in Great Britain. Their Navy can barely, they can't field enough ships hardly to make up for a support group for an aircraft carrier. Great Britain, used to rule the seas, but they're pitiful now. And France has got nukes, but France ain't nothing to brag about either. Germany has tried to put together the biggest military in Europe, and they run internal issues with conscription. Poland seems to be doing stuff, but Poland, seems to be by themselves on it. So Poland don't know part of being ruled by Russia. They've been there before. They don't want no part of it. Any country that's had the Russian rule in the past is very anti-Russian and also very anti-communist. Anybody that's had to live under that jackboot knows better than our dumb students here in the United States who have been hypnotized and believing, oh, this is the way to go. This is good stuff. Yeah, you ask people that lived under it. They're not so fond of it. Anyway, why did 1/3 of the Venezuelans flee Venezuela? Why is it the world's oil richest country is broke? And a country with no resources, no natural resources whatsoever, like Singapore, is doing great. That's what communism brings you, is being broke. If you go woke, you go broke. I'm trying to get that message across, but it ain't getting through. Some thick skulls out there. So anyway, yikes. So let's look at this here, guys. Russia conducts major military drills. We're still on Russia here, testing their YARS intercontinental ballistic missile. They got several different variants of their YARS, 1,200-kilometer range. This is something to reach United States. This isn't their Sarmont, the RS-24 YAR missile. So yeah, they did a full-up nuclear exercise. This is a solid fuel missile. This is one that's ready to go. They can mount it on trucks. They can mount them in silos. There it is, truck mounted. There it is, truck mounted also with the rector firing off. So that's what they did. They fired that guy off, and they did this just to The last time they did an exercise like this, they invaded Ukraine, and that's got a lot of people over NATO a little concerned. So the last time Russia did this, they did conducted an invasion. So, uh, hmm, I don't know. Russia's got their hands full, I think, in Ukraine, but some people in NATO are concerned that they may launch out, thinking that some NATO countries are easier pickings and might give a quick win to Putin, and he really wants it. Thinking the rest of NATO would cave in. I don't know. That's a big gamble. Would he do that? I'm skeptical. Said he won't, but I'm skeptical. Anyway, yeah, Ukraine's built a new super weapon. They claim their missile's more powerful than the Tomahawk. Well, it probably has got the range, but how many of them can they build? Again, how many can we afford to supply? Zero, because we don't have enough to take on China. But we're talking about it for some reason. Maybe it's just leverage against Russia, but apparently it didn't. Oh yeah, the problem was before they had supposed to have this peace summit in Budapest, Trump already gave up and said, okay, we're not going to send them the missiles. He's supposed to be a art of the deal man. Why did he give up on a major leverage before he had his meeting? I don't know what the strategy of that was, but anyway, not the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. I'll come to the chat room when I get through these news articles as normal, because we do for the people that are getting ready to go to work in the morning, watching this with their coffee and breakfast. We'll make sure they can get the news quick. Then we'll go in the chat room. So I'll make an announcement when we get through the news section, and we'll do the egg count tonight too. Egg guess. Anyway, Putin apparently is betting on Europe failing. And he might be right, but according to this article, now whether this article is actually right that he's really looking into Europe is a whole nother matter. But this guy is he's talking about Trump playing Lucy. I've already used that analogy before, but he's saying that here that Europe is just falling apart. He says, consider French President Emmanuel Macron at various times since Putin began special military operations. Macron has boasted that he was considered putting French troops on the ground in Ukraine, but he hasn't done it. So, but if he did, see, Putin has sized Macron up as a blowhard, unlikely to follow through to the end. And maybe he sized up all of Europe in that stand. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, excuse me, he's talking about how the Germany part's falling apart, but how also they promised Ukraine the TARS missiles several times and haven't supplied them. So Russia's beginning to think, all these Europeans are just blowhards. They don't mean it. So, sometimes, when you're dealing with a strong man like Putin, you got to be strong. If you're kind of limp about your response, he ain't going to respect you. No strong man respects a weakling. They just don't. Right or wrong, it ain't got nothing to do with it. That's just the way it is. Same way with out in the street. A gang member. If you look weak, you're prey. Putin is definitely a strong man. He's got this strong man mentality. Half measures are not going to change Putin's cost calculus. This man who has willingly offed more than 1.1 million of his own countrymen and allies, including Chechens, North Koreans, and Chinese, he's just not going to pay attention to that stuff, according to this guy that wrote this article in the Hill. Mark Toth and Jonathan Sweet were two contributors to this article, for whatever it's worth. Anyway, now we're getting to serious business here. China now has more ICBM launchers than the United States. Okay, well, this ain't new news, because guess what? This was published over a year and a half ago. No, 2.5 years ago. February of 2023. February 2023. Let that sink in. And now we just seen them roll out the DF-61 missile. And many more since this article was published. Many more. This is back in the day. I think this came out after Peter Pry and I were talking about it. So China has surpassed the United States in the number of land-based intercontinental ballistic missile launchers it possesses. This estimate comes from growing concerns over China's effort to rapidly expand its nuclear arsenal. Rapidly. You get what they're saying? Rapidly. So, and here's some of the missile silo fills. There's two of them. That's just one of two. Uh, so, they started with their DF4 in 1980, which just had one warhead, and the DF5 just had one warhead. DF4 was a transportable liquid fuel, and that's kind of hard to do with liquid fuel missiles. But the DF5 was a ICBM that was in a silo. But then they went to the DF-31s in 2006, which had a range could reach the United States. And then the DF-41, which we all know, solid fuel rocket could reach the United States. And the DF-41s, could reach, just most of the United States with this new missile can do the same and beyond, perhaps. So get this. Now, this is another article that came out also in 2023. And I think this one was published a little later. And sponsored by Northrop Grumman. So, breaking defense news here back in 2023. What was the date on this article? You can see it's got the date up here in the 2023-10, so probably October 2023. There it is. Yeah, October 19th, 2023 by Ashley Rogue. But this is what they put down here. And I've seen these missile fields. Peter Pry and I was talking about it back in the time. I think there was 230 when Peter Pry and I were talking about this. Well, they built more. So, and they just keep building more silos. So, additionally, the PRC completed construction of 3 new solid propelled silo fields last year. This is back in the time we were talking about. I think they were up to 2. We were talking 3 new ones. New ones. Now, this ain't for the DF5s and their older silo missiles. These are new ones. Get this, new ones with 300 new intercontinental ballistic missile silos. 300 silos. Now, the missiles that can go in these silos are the DF-41, which Peter Pry and I talked about, and now the DF-61. And we know the DF-41 can have 10 MIRV warheads. The DF-61 is thought that it's equally capable. 10 MIRV warheads. MIRV is multiple reentry vehicles. That means they can put 10 independent reentry vehicles on one missile. So with one missile, they can attack 10 cities or 10 different targets. 300 of them. That is a potential of up to 3,000 warheads. You don't build these silos to put, baking powder on missiles. Okay, you don't build. The only reason you build an ICBM silo is for intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles. Nuclear. You don't attack with intercontinental ballistic missiles if they're conventional weapons. This is for nuclear weapons. Read my lips. Nuclear weapons. And I'm not George W. Bush or H.W. Bush. So I'm trying to tell you what the State Department won't tell you or didn't in previous administrations. And that was one of the things that Peter Pry was really angry about, is he believed they were sweeping stuff under the rug and just not being an honest analyst for what was going on. Back in the day, there was, China's only got a couple of hundred warheads. And in addition to these, they got a lot of mobile missile launchers, and we don't even know how many. We knew they had a bunch of them for the DF-41. Well, now they got a bunch of new ones for the DF-61. How many mobile missile launchers do they have? We don't know. We also know they've got they've got an equivalent to our B-2, maybe our B-21 bombers now. They've got their own equivalents to those. They have bombers, nuclear capable bombers. And they also have submarines. Yeah, submarines that can launch ICBMs. So how many can they launch? We don't know. But here's the thing. They built a facility that was capable of producing X number nuclear facility of warheads, nuclear devices per year. And for some reason, the State Department just assumed they quit making them after several years ago. But yet now they've expanded and doubled or tripled that capacity. But the numbers we were using were assuming they got to a point, man, they built a couple of hundred here and just weren't building anymore. We don't have IAEA there. We don't have our inspectors there. So where do we come up with this? What lame brain assumes that a country that's aggressively building their military just suddenly don't want to build and use the facilities they got to build stuff yet when they're building missiles like crazy, when they're building ICBM silos like crazy, when they got these mobile launchers being built like crazy. Oh, no, they wouldn't do that. No. Really? Really? What you got between your noggin, between your ears inside your noggin, folks? It's there to be seen. Our satellites see this stuff. The way they see it in their parades, part of it. You don't see it all because China's very secretive. We don't have the people there to know, do we? So what do y'all think about this? Yeah, I'm gonna check the chat room in a little bit, guys, and I also look, on since Kim Possible's in the house, I will check my email to see if I've got a donation. So I like to give credit where credit's due. But let's get back to this. This is one of the nice news is nuke war news. Now somebody made a chat comment back a couple of videos back. Oh look, every video you put out nuke war news. No, it's not by a long shot. In fact, I would say maybe only 1 in 5. And there's always some smart aleck in a I guess he'll unsubscribe now. Well, whatever. Always in the comment section. They always get a like, but somebody else has got to chime in on that too. Really? Go back and look at my videos. I'm not saying that this is going to happen like some other YouTubers, but if you're not awake to it and you're not prepared to look out, I mean, China's not building all this stuff and investing in all this stuff just to play mumbly peg. You think? They've got some grand designs on Taiwan, and then they think that we're the biggest impediment to their goals in the world. Get rid of us, and their impediment's gone. Well, they can take us down without using any nukes. All they got to do is take down our power grid. A lot of people don't realize just how devastating that would be. And and they got us hacked to the hilt. And it's not just the United States; it's all Western countries. And yet, so many of them want to do it. And probably even the third world countries in the global South who are taking in their belts and roads and getting so indebted that they're going to have to give up all kind of facilities to China. So this is something to pay attention to, guys. This ain't joke. I'm putting it out there, and this is old news too. But the new news is the DF-61 they put out in their parade. So, and we don't know. I've heard various people talk about, well, it's this, that. We don't know what the DF-61's got. Here's the latest article on Wikipedia, and nowhere in here does it tell you how many warheads it can carry. No. It probably ain't going to be no less than the DF-41. Why do they need a DF-61 when they got the DF-41? Huh? The DF-41 was already capable of taking us out. You see, the DF-41 is here. And, it's, 180,000-pound missile, 3-stage solid fuel rocket with a range of up to 9,300 miles, which is more than enough to hit anything in the United States from China. So why? And this one is known to have the capability of carrying up to 10 MIRV warheads, multiple independent reentry vehicles. That's what MIRV stands for. It's an acronym. Defense world and space world, those acronyms. And some places have, here it is, MIRV, multiple independently targeted reentry vehicles. So, oh, that's funny. Show a U.S. Air Force missile. All of our missiles now just have one single warhead on them. Oh, thanks to Jimmy Carter, Peanut Man. So, yeah, and we could have put the MX missile on a rail-mounted system, had some mobile missiles, but he nixed it. Oh, look, but they do have rail versions of the DF-41. So it's on rail. See that? Rail cars, trucks, silos. How many do they have? We don't know. We don't know. That's the scary part. We don't know how many of these things they have. See, look here. Here's the map. It shows DF. Although this was before the DF-41. This map is from 2007. And they said here that they thought the DF-41 has a similar range to the DF-5A, which is their old single warhead. And this line, purple line, is what the DF-5A could reach. As far as we know, they got the DF-5As. How many warheads does China have? Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. How many does the U.S. have? Well, with our ICBMs, our submarines, and our bombers, we have 1,770 strategic warheads mounted, ready to go. They've got a few more in bunkers and places that might could be put on, aircraft in tactical situations. But I'll say China may be able to triple that. And if you got enough to take out our weapons in a first strike, then well, yes, Russia's got their Sarmat missile. That's a liquid fuel missile. Liquid fuel missiles, their only mission is a first strike because it takes too long to fuel them up. So the Sarmat or the Satan II, whatever you want to call it, and that's a big missile. North Korea's got a big missile too. So, So we are first strike vulnerable. And that's what Peter Pry tried to warn us about on a video with me years ago. We are vulnerable to being taken out with a first strike and then being held hostage. So, okay, we got all your forces now. We can start taking out your city, surrender. Of course, I may not be anybody surrender if they take out our grid too. They got so many ways to take us down now. It's like they got belts and suspenders and another belt, and another pair of suspenders, another belt, and another pair of suspenders, like maybe in quad, not triplicate, maybe 4 times over. Jeez, because all the way they've hacked so many things in this country, it's not funny. But it's not just the United States. And the United States may not be the only target. They got enough for everybody. They want them. Anyway, and so we always think Russia's got more than China. I wouldn't bet on that, guys. Anyway, China's new DF-61 intercontinental ballistic missile breaks cover. Yeah, this is when they rolled it out in their big parade they just had. So a lot of pictures of it. Comparing it, see here, the DF-41 can be loaded with up to 10 multiple, MIRV warheads. The DF-41. And then the DF-61, probably the same, maybe more. They say the Sarmat or Satan II can have up to 12. So, guys, this is some serious business. Peace by deterrence. What do China's top 5 new weapons tell us? How about aggression? Just look at all the stuff they got in their plate. Unmanned. These are large unmanned vehicles here. Very large. See, the trucks are on. Those are part of their drones. Strategic drones. So they just rolled out all kind of stuff. The Dongfang 61, DF-61, DF-17, hypersonic missiles, YJ-12 anti-ship cruise missiles. China has, like we have an Air Force, a Space Force, they got a missile force. An entire branch of the military is the missile force. So, and we know that they've just sanctioned our ability to get rare earth metals. They have said that anybody who they supply rare earth metals to has to get approval before they can sell them to anybody else. And that includes Taiwan's TSMC semiconductor manufacturer. So China has a veto over them selling chips to the United States. And how can China force it? Hey, we'll just cut off you too. Just like we did the United States. If you don't listen to us, we'll cut you off too. And now China's coming out and trying to tell U.S. semiconductor manufacturers that we've got to tell them, what our sales are, profit data. Really? China thinks it's the boss of the world. They are being hyper aggressive now. Their take of the South China Sea is far bigger than Russia's take of Ukraine. If they took it all, Ukraine would pale in comparison to what China's grabbing in the South China Sea. Guys, in fact, they took Xinjiang, the province of the Uyghurs, they took Tibet, Inner Mongolia, Manchuria. Anyway, um, but Trump may have a Trump card. He's now considering a ban on anything that contains U.S. software to China. See how this is escalating? Anything that's got software, which is just about everything going there. Of course, China is now trying to hit us back to not to be able to build ships because they recognize that we're using some South Korean companies for shipbuilding. So they're telling those companies, no, you're not going to get the components to make ships. You see what happens when you give up manufacturing to a country like China? We need to suck it in and say, we ain't trading with you no more at all, and go independent on manufacturing in the West and just cut China out because we gave up too much. We made, how do you win a war? By outproducing the enemy. It's called attrition. When your enemy can outproduce you, when you got to go to your so-called enemy in a war to get your supplies, you're not lost. That's stupid. It's just stupid. And it ain't dumb. It's stupid. Anyway, this was written before he launched his missile, his 9,300-mile ICBM that can hit any city in the United States from North Korea, little Kim. And well, he did some launches. And here it's talking about, well, that was before, this is after. This is a different article. Oh, this got mixed in the wrong place. Okay, yeah, we got a couple of bombers flying off the coast of Venezuela. We may be about to get into it there. Well, let's go back to North Korea. That article got out of place in my sequence here. Anyway, North Korea fires nuke-capable missile capable of annihilating South Korea's bunkers. So this is the short-range missile I talked about. And here's an article talking about them firing a hypersonic missile to be able to punch through our defenses in South Korea, basically eliminate our forces. And, guys, if we don't get into war, the sun may get us. Look at this ginormous CME that we just had a couple days ago. Look at that. Took place between the 21st and the 22nd from the sun, on the far side of the sun. Thankfully, not facing us. The side of the sun's facing us is not so active right now, but the other side is hyperactive. Look at that. That is a ginormous CME. Hey, for some little aliens floating around on 3i Atlas, they might have got fried. But if you got that kind of technology for interstellar travel, you're prepared for stuff like that, I would imagine. But yikes, guys, if that comes around to us and we get one of these, look, our shields are a lot weaker than they were when the Carrington event hit because our magnetic sphere has been dropping in field strength. On top of that, and it's dropped 10% at least. On top of that, we got this big hole that's opening up and getting bigger and bigger called the South Atlantic Anomaly. It's been there for decades, but it's getting bigger now, and a lot bigger. We worried about that when we first started the International Space Station program, and back then it was a lot smaller than it is today. But we were worried about radiological effects on our electronics. And that CME and all this talk about Korea kind of reminds me of the remote viewing claims by Major Ed Dames. He said there would be he said that there would be 2 signs before a kill shot from the sun. He wasn't talking about a Carrington event. He was talking about something big enough to take out people on the surface of the planet. Major event. A Miyake scale event. Now, that's also in the Bible. In the Bible, it talks about the sun wiping out 1/3 of everything on the surface of the earth. You find that in Revelations, book of Revelation. So, is that going to happen? I'm not saying it will. Ed Dames has missed a couple, but he's hit on a couple too. He allegedly predicted the Fukushima event, but he started talking about this supposedly back in the 90s. He said 2 things would happen first. One is there would be a space shuttle disintegrate in the atmosphere, And the second thing would be the one that's more immediate would be a nuke on the Korean Peninsula. Now, what we don't know, what he said at the time, though, he said that he couldn't give time markers. He just said that he knew the sequence, but he couldn't say the time. He said it could be a long time or something, but the nuke would be a lot more imminent. Uh, we did lose the space shuttle Columbia. I don't know if that was actually lost before he added the space shuttle part to his claim. But we also lost what we did lose after he made his claim. I'm aware of was something of a space shuttle, one of the Virgin Galactic vehicles, disintegrated in the air when it went into shuttle clock prematurely on launch, which is supposed to be in the braking maneuver of the wings, and crashed and took out one of its pilots. So, and that could be what he's talking about. He said a space shuttle type vehicle. I don't know. And again, he could just be smoking it. Because, I can't say what there is to this, but he did miss a couple of his predictions. Everything he said has not come true. He was talking about some particular sporting event that something horrible would happen, and it didn't happen. But then again, I live in a multiverse, so maybe predictions don't trace down every time leg. Yeah, yeah. He said with biological weapons in the Shea or Yankee Stadium in July some particular year, and it didn't happen. And he also said he was locked in a psychic battle with Satan. Yeah, I don't know. I think a human being would have a rough time with that unless they evoke the support of the Lord Almighty. All righty. So, got all the sun in the house? Cool. All righty. So how many people we got in the house? 85. Good. U.S. decries North Korean missile launches. Urge them to refrain from further unlawful destabilizing acts. That's like a chicken telling the wolf to leave him alone. Oh, don't growl, don't howl. Yeah. Let's see how far that goes. That's not. That's about as useless as nitties on a board hog. Anyway, all that aside. So we've conducted another strike on a boat, a couple of them now in the Eastern Pacific. I guess coming out of Colombia, perhaps. So we're up to 9 drug cartel boats that's been hit. So this keeps going. Where's it going? Maduro says Venezuela has thousands of Russian anti-aircraft missiles to counter U.S. threats. Yeah, if they can detect our jets, our stealthy jets, that's highly questionable. Anyway, guys, it's stuff is cooking all over. That's the bottom line here. And I've submitted to you that this is really just part of the campaign against China, because China's got strong influence in South America, and particularly in Venezuela. Also, Venezuela let Hezbollah come in big time and set up basically almost a city there, training camp, in which some of them slipped across our border. So during the previous administration, who threw the borders wide open, didn't care who walked in for some stupid reason. All right, let's change topics and look at earthquakes. Yeah, we're about to be done with the news segment. We'll go into the chat room. Yikes, guys. The world's shaking. Puerto Ricans are dancing. Look here. All around Timor, 4.2. Tual, Indonesia, 5.6. Another one in Timor, 5.1. The most recent one right over here is Papua New Guinea, or no, Pangana, however you say that. Some earthquakes over here in Japan, 4.5 there. What's this one? 5.1. Anyway, yeah, I think a lot of stuff shaking. Kamchatka Peninsula, they still have a lot of aftershocks up there, 4.7. And Sandpoint, Alaska, 4.6. Now, this is near a populated area here. Point Possession, Alaska, 2.5. Anyway, let's look at space weather. I think something's wrong with that article. We know it's not visible. So, and here's somebody trying to catch Comet Lemon. I went out tonight looking for it. I didn't see it. The aurora activity here is kind of low right now. Here's the sunspots we're looking at. A couple of fair size ones, nothing Carrington event size. Of course, they could always grow. Those are aimed right at us, by the way. But whoa, what happened there? Let's go back. Just clicked on that picture. There's our CME event. Ginormous explosion. We're glad it was facing away from us, as most of them have been of late. Let's hope our luck don't run out. And if you want to look at asteroids, oh yeah, guys, we've got about 4 comets inside the inner solar system right now. And so we got a ton of asteroids, and some of them making close approaches to Earth. Look at that. We're in a busy locale right now. We just had one that came in within the altitude of our geosynchronous satellites back on the 21st. One came in close to the moon. Well, we saw that one. This was posted. This wasn't on here last time we did a live. And of course, we just had the one that came through on the 22nd, 70% of the way between the Earth and the moon toward the moon. So, you always look ahead and you don't see all that red as you look ahead, but it always comes up after the fact, right? And we got a lot of asteroid business going on, a lot of comet business going on. Again, there's always a few that you never want to come close to us, like this puppy here, which is over 9 times the distance between the Earth and the moon away, thankfully. But that sucker is 435 meters. It would be a really bad day if it hit us. Or some of these others, 338, 224. Those are all really bad days, 105. But fortunately, that's 22.2 times the distance of Earth and the sun, Earth and the moon away. Thankfully, the big ones are way out there. 118 meters, 12, almost 13 times the distance. 171 meters. There's some big ones out there, 210 meters. Fortunately, they're not coming close. So there's no really big ones that's coming close anytime too soon. Anyway, all right, folks, that's the news section of this. We're going to go into the chat room, and then we'll do the egg guess. Let y'all guess how many eggs I got today, and we'll call it a night. So before I do all that, I'm actually going to pull it up on my computer, the chat room, so I can go on my phone. Space Rocks from Denmark. Hey, Alan. How you doing? We got Alan Mayer Jensen. So we got some people from Europe in the house. That's good to see. So I am going to go in here and look at, since Kim Possible is with us tonight. Let's see. Ding, ding, ding. Where is it at? I'm going to find my email or log in my PayPal. It's faster to put it up on email from the find out. Where's my link yet? Ding, 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 ding. Pardon me, guys. Just take my number up out. And as I suspect, whenever I see her, well, she is very generous. So guess what? We did get a donation tonight from, wow. Yes, sir. Wow. Support Green Greg's cause. $25 from Kim Possible. $25. Salute to Kim Possible. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I didn't get much in super chats lately, so that really helps. Kim Possible, thank you. I got a few last time we was in here, though. So, all right, don't start guessing yet. Don't start guessing yet. You got to wait till I say it, because I don't want to have to go scrolling back. Don't start guessing yet, Hawaii. Don't start guessing yet. Don't start guessing until I say go. All righty. Yeah. Thank you, Kim Possible. So let's see what's in the chat room here real fast. And she had put the first comment on today. Number 1, thank you. She said morning. And it is morning here now. It's almost 1 a.m. Patient Saint, good morning from Georgia. We got Georgia in the house. Mary Green, New Days, Nathan Reed, Larry Shuttle, and TUKBYV1. How do you pronounce that? Tukaby? I don't know. Joseph from Texas. Things are getting tense indeed, Larry. I'm having electrical storms in North Texas. Wow. Uh, Alice, how you doing, Alice? Mary Green. Puby. Hey, Puby. All right. They do remind me of ostriches. I used to get 45 minutes from now, so I'm up. Okay. Power Grid. Well, thank you, Dace, for sharing that. I got several interviews with Dr. Pry. Several. Rodney from Down Under. Got to go to work. I will be listening. Everyone have a blessed and awesome day. Well, you bless me, so I thank you back. Anyway, Voldemort Zelensky. That's good. TUKBY. I saw a film that when the winds blow will be like that. Has anyone seen the film? When the winds blow, will it be like that? I don't know what film you're talking about there, Mary. Deep function, 100,000 minus one. Russia's not going to back down. They haven't backed down at all. They have not backed down. All right. Thank you, Rodney, for calling for the thumbs up. Nuclear 911 with Dr. Peter. Oh, there's another one. Thank you. So that's what I like about New Day's been now. She posts links for me. Some of the other mods might want to take a look at that and follow suit. She's established a good lead for everybody to follow there. Trump's doing what the CIA asking for. That's scary. That's scary. Europe has its own problems, especially with, the invasion. Well, they did it to themselves. A lot of people are waking up and says, hey, we need to get this out of here. So a lot of the common folks are not happy. But then that's why they're doing this, because they don't want the people that had power to have power anymore. They want to destroy the nations and put it all under one banner. House of Klaus. Anyway, Tim Casper, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. Take some of the heat. Oh, what's it like down under, Rodney? You're in springtime, right? We got autumn up here. Lots of air conditioning and poolside or riverside. Okay. Going to summer. We haven't seen a good rainstorm since early August. My pond suffered most of 20 years. Oh, you lost a bunch of fish. We had deep function 100,000 minus one. New days. The only reason I'm awake, I have a dump truck showing up at 6 a.m. 20 yards of 2-year-old cow poo. Ooh, wish I had that here. Be careful. Make sure they're not feeding them stuff with Grazon in it, because it takes 3 years for Grazon to break down. Test it before you use it. Put some radish seeds in it. Bring it inside. It's fall. You can tell, well, by next spring, it might be good. But test it with some radish seeds. The radish can sprout on paper. The stuff I got out here was killing the radish seeds. I could put it in the dirt here, which is highly alkaline, and it would grow like crazy. But the horse poo I got, poison. Big time. Bad. Anyway. Hey, that's good stuff, Rodney. It's good stuff. 2-year-old poo. And besides, it's broke. The bacteria worked on it, so it shouldn't be smelly if it's gone through the heat phase. This horse meat I got here, bacteria won't even grow in it. It's never gone into the heat phase. Really weird. I ain't never seen anything like that. Yikes. China wants to rule the entire world. Yeah, it looks like it, Rodney. Appears they rule the moon. Well, if they get the moon, we're in trouble. They put a mass driver on the moon. I've done a video on that on the Galactic Grace channel. We're in a heap of trouble because they could raster fire the rods of God anywhere on Earth. Lots of them. Man, oh hell, if America was struck, states would fall into their own. We would be calm sectors. I could see real patriots putting up a heck of a fight and entrenched like an army like Vietnam. No one wins. All right, great conversation. So if they take down our power grid, everything we got today is dependent on power, insanely so. Electric power. We're so dependent on our grid, it's pathetic. That's really the only way to look at it. It's just absolutely pathetic how dependent we are on our grid. So, and they got so many ways to do it, and not just a grid. They got everything targeted. Plus the biologicals. They do a biological attack on us. I mean, what was Reedley, California all about? Hmm. How many more biolabs they have in this country? Oh my gosh. That's why I said they got belts and suspenders and belts and suspenders and belts and suspenders. They hacked us with software. They've hacked our hardware. They got the SIM cards. They've got the water targeted. They've got even the small towns. They've targeted the municipal water treatment facilities, even in small towns in this country. Why? They're targeting you, the people, not just the governments, not just, they're trying to bring us to our knees completely. You know, they got your DNA, probably. Anybody that did 23andMe? Hmm. You got some relatives that did 23andMe, then they got you too. So this is not good by any stretch of the imagination. And cheaply manufactured products that break down quickly, causing the consumer to consume more. Just had a water heater go, and we replaced it in only 4.5 years. Yeah. So everybody's, you know, we suckered up to buying all their cheap junk, and they've used the money they got from it to build a very extensive military with weapons aimed at us to hack our systems here, to send people over here, and put up the sim farms, all kind of stuff. They used that money against us, and yet people moan at the idea we may have to pay a little bit more for stuff from over there. We shouldn't be buying any of their junk in the first place because it's toxic. It comes with nuclear missiles. That's how toxic it is. Jeez. Naval ships, nuclear missiles aimed at us. It comes with our grid being hacked. It comes with our municipal water systems being targeted. It comes with poisons in products they send over here. It comes with F-ball, which is my short name for something that is anal, begins with fent. Oh yeah, but they love us. Yeah, right. So, how you doing, all the sun? Good to see you. Oops, Starseed. Where did that go? I'll just skip too much. Love you all. Stay positive and mostly stay away from the energy vampires. There you go. All the commies lie again and again, always. Oh, yeah. And Trump, talking about making a treaty with them. What purpose is it to make a treaty with China? They don't abide by anything they don't want to abide with. Look what they did with Hong Kong. Wasn't there a treaty there? Mm-hmm. Didn't China sign the Law of the Sea Treaty, which they totally ignored, taking the South China Sea? Oh, yeah, they did. And what about and that was even against the older maritime law before the Law of the Sea Treaty, which the United States didn't sign. And I really pushed against it because it had some provisions that would not have served us well. But still, there's earlier maritime traditions that we abide by. China don't. China don't. So it's just crazy. The stuff they don't sign a treaty and then oh yeah, China's so law-abiding. China will attack the United States. So well, you're not abiding by law. Look, they steal our intellectual property left and right, big time, up one side and down the other. Jeez, and then they want to accuse us of stuff. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Space debris landed in a remote part of Western Australia. Very few days. Yeah, I heard about that, Rodney. Nobody was on the road when it landed. That's good. Oop, what happened? I just skipped it down the bottom again. Uh, I saw it. I believe it was a French film. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. Ronnie, guys, I will have to up 12 knives heat treated next week. Hey, post your link on if you got a way to say that, sell that. You can do that. I'm fine with that, Rodney. Go ahead and post it because Rodney is an excellent knifesmith, master knifesmith, guys. Oops, shoot. I just saw something. Mark Brown. You need to be in Earth orbit for rods of God. You can send them from a mass driver from the moon, and they'll come in a whole lot faster and have a lot more energy than coming from Earth orbit. And they don't have to be tungsten rods. You can just make them out of iron. I've already calculated it. The impact is about I think it was 7 tons of TNT. And actually, that was my earlier calculation. But Chat GPT said it was higher because I wasn't accounting for the final acceleration as it's coming through the atmosphere. As long as they got an aspect ratio of 20 times the length to the diameter, they'll get through the atmosphere with only 3% abrasion if you put an ablative surface on the front. Yeah, these would be devastating. They could raster fire them. Now, they'd have to work on pointing a little bit, but they got my DA when I was in the military. Oh, Eddie. Some of those synthetic hot dogs the other day made from synthetic meat. Yuck. Yuck. Complete with accident purchasing. After all, I'm human. Half robot, though. Hey, Jesse Talbert's in the house. A world built on AI and power grids is like a house built on sifting sands, only a matter of time. Yes, sir. So true, Jesse. Hey, I'm off grid. My batteries are lead acid, so they don't have that battery management system in them. I'm looking into getting some backups for my charge controllers and inverters and putting them in Faraday cages. I'll be set then. I'll be set. Let's see. From the moon, yes, kinetic energy. Oh yeah, you got a lot more kinetic energy coming from the moon. So hey, the whole story that the moon is a harsh mistress, written by Heinlein, it was based on using the moon as a launching point for such things. Anyway, we got Cha Cha in the house. Hello, Cha Cha. Good to see you. Good to see you. Payment, F99. Check out sodium ion batteries. Hey, I got lead acid. I'm good. Already got them. I got quite a few of them. I may get some more. Got 93 in the room. That's good. So let me find something else before we go here. Ding, 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 ding. I'm pull up another page here. Where's it at? Do 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 do. I'm gonna share something else. Hang on, guys. I gotta find my Zoom page again. Whoa, I'm gonna kill it. Trying to open it. Let's do another share. We're gonna look at a different set of pages here. Yeah, I've just posted a couple of very interesting videos here on Galactic Dregs. I'll probably be on Rex tomorrow on Leak Project. Anyway, this is my latest video, 3i Atlas. Guys, they talk about the government being shut down as the reason we're not getting pictures from Mars. Guess who operates the high-res instrument? University of Arizona. Right, Jesse? The government shutdown shouldn't be keeping us from these pictures. And I go into great detail about that here in this video and other things. Talk also about the resolution of the different instruments that can be looking at this object. And nothing's going to sit, and it's going to be within 1 pixel, and everything will be looking at it. That's the sad story. But the single best platform to look at probably was the high-res camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. And look at, I got Marvin the Martian with his telescope out looking at Comet there. And now it's coming up on Halloween, so you might want to think about this video. This video ain't got near the views I thought it would. I got tons of special effects in this video. I'm reading it in a very spooky thematic ambience here. My poetry I wrote for this, but it's all talking about my answer to the Fermi paradox. one I think makes the most sense and can explain Three-Eye Atlas, unfortunately. Uh, you really ought to watch this one. Yeah, this took me 3 weeks to produce, and it's got graphics all through it. So graphics, poetry, a little music. Uh, need to see that one. That'll knock your socks off, blow your mind. And over here, I was talking about the improbabilities of all the different probabilities in here and just how, we shouldn't be saying what we're saying. The improbabilities are off the chart with this booker right here. Anyway, yeah, you might want to have a look at that. And I got a few other interesting videos out here. Hey, we can all get rich if we go to Psycho's asteroid. So, I got some different topics in there. You might want to check it out. Go to Galactic Gregs and check that stuff out. Anyway, I'm going to stop the share again. Bada bing, bada bang. And I'm going to close that down and look back at my chat room here. See what snuck in on me here. It was great, Greg. I put it on Space Time Clock playlist, and it's going down in history, my friend. There you go. Pilgrim, hello. We are in real world, ha. All right, what do you think about it? Caught a very cool, hot fireball across the sky. Yeah, we're supposed to be having a meteor shower. I didn't see him. Just a unique comet. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, probably. But, the Dark Fortress is a bigger philosophy for the Fermi paradox. I'm just saying, if they were going to come at us, that would be the way they'd do it. But, it does look like a natural logic, really. But it's got a lot of oddball quirks to it. Quirky natural logic. Got my costume ready. Green body paint and vines going as poison ivy. Oh my gosh. You would make a heck of a poison ivy. Oh yeah, we got a quasi moon. We got a new moon. I did a video about mining quasi moons actually. That was one of the videos I talked about that I just showed you guys. Check that out over on Galactic Gregs. Cha-cha. All right, guys. We're going to call it a night. It is 1:16 here. I got to get up in a little bit. But I do need to get a few winks. Night before last, I only slept 2 hours. Oh, we got to do the egg contest. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, go. How many eggs did I get today? How many eggs did I get from my hens today? I got them right here. How many eggs? Y'all can guess now. How many eggs did we get, folks? Said I lost some viewers because I was about to end. How many eggs did we get? I'm waiting. Who gets it right? Keep guessing. Keep guessing. Whoa! Peppermint Patty got it. Peppermint Patty got the right number. Peppermint Patty guessed it. Perfect. I got 6 eggs today. 6. And here they are. 6 eggs. I got only 2 yesterday. I think at least I might have one day I didn't get any. I got one day, but so I got 6 today, had 2 yesterday, and 5 the day before. And we hadn't in the time prior to that's when y'all guessed. So it's been a couple of us. Peppermint Patty got it. You win, Peppermint Patty. Yes, sir. Peppermint Patty was the first to say 6. So she got it. All righty. All right, we done the egg guess. That's how we end our show here. Yeah. Hens are off on land. A lot of people are commenting, and it's probably just the season. Of course, my hens, are getting used to their new home still. So it's probably real stressful for them getting moved the way they did. And they got a new rooster they got to get used to. So, that's probably a lot of stress. And they don't lay as much when they're stressed. But the previous owner of these hens said he was getting 11, 12, sometimes 14 eggs a day out of them. But, they'll probably pick up like that in the spring or summer. So, hey, Dr. Berg eats around 4 eggs a day. So try to eat as many as I can. Wow. Now, Dr. Berg, I like him. He's got a good channel, by the way, guys. You need to check out Dr. Berg's channel. He puts it out there like it is. And without all the silly stuff that the AMA and the traditional establishment tells you, he is a medical doctor, but he is realistic. Yeah, well, we're going to call it a night or a morning or whatever. I haven't hit the sack yet. I'm going to hit the hay in a little bit. So thank you, Kim Possible, for the wonderful donation. Thank you, New Days, for posting so much stuff, so many of my links. Thank you, all you mods, for keeping the channel clean. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure that you go in the comment section and leave some comments and maybe comment on somebody else's comment as we go into this. And that helps with the algors that have no rhythm. We know that this platform stomps on me pretty hard these days. So help me out with that kind of stuff and share my videos far and wide. Go check out my videos on my Galactic Greg's channel. Check out Swivelhead News. And yeah, I need some support from you guys. I'm trying to get Galactic Greg's remonetized. They demonetized it because I wasn't putting content on it for a while because I was moving. I couldn't handle both it and Green Greg's and Swivelhead News. Well, guess what? You know, I didn't know they'd do that. I had no clue. But they didn't monetize it. So I'm trying to get content out there enough to get it remonetized. So help me out, guys. Go let some of those videos pay. By the way, all of a sudden said boom with two eggs. Egg boom. That's cute, all of a sudden. Yeah, my last name is All Is On. All the Sun. Pretty close. All is on. Allison. All is on. So you spell it. All righty. I'd eat more. Try to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Is it easy? Well, if you ate everything that they tell you to, you need so many grams of this, you need so many grams. It'd take a dump truck per day. So you got to keep it within bounds of what you can actually eat and without getting too big. Anyway, but protein is good for you. So, and like Dr. Grundy says, don't eat the eggs from the stores. They're toxic. But the free range eggs, yeah. All righty. So once again, thank you, Kim Possible, for the donation. Thank you, Mods, for keeping the channel clean. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And with that, I'm going to say a happy, hearty, uh, uh, a good night to one and all. Good day, wherever you are. And with that, I'm going to say ho, ho, ho.